Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our last episode review for the last episode of The Walking Dead Season 7. That's for the big finale, Episode 16, the first day of the rest of your life. And as usual, I want to thank Eaglemoss for sending out a couple more of their Walking Dead figures. Wicked cool. This week I got the Maggie, which is really sweet. Really nice, right? Very cool, very cool. And of course, to go with her, it's a good choice, is the Glenn figure, which is pretty cool. So nice to see. Going to add them to the plinth stand and then put them in the backdrop right there when I'm done. Link will be in the description if you guys want to sign up for a subscription to Eaglemoss. They send these out, the figurines, on like a monthly basis type deal. So you can sign up for that in the description if you want to. And as usual, spoiler warning for this one. This review is going to contain spoilers because we're going to go into the nitty-gritty of the episode and give our thoughts on this very heavily loaded episode. There's just a lot of stuff that happens in this one, so I'll try to give my thoughts on most of it. If you missed my reaction video, I did it earlier. If you want to watch the episode with me, so to speak, you can watch that. I just take out the clips of my reactions throughout the episode for the parts that kind of stood out to me. And there's a lot of them in this episode. There was quite a few things in this one that were done really, really well. And as I said in my reaction video, I think it's an ambitious episode. I think it's very ambitious as an extended episode. It was nice to see it extended, and it gave them a little bit extra wiggle room there to include some things in it that may not have made the cut, or they may not have had time to do it if they didn't extend the episode. I mean, to recap, quickly, the major themes of the episode, of course, we have this being the final episode for Sasha in the show. So you get, for her, really nice to see Michael Cudlitz make an appearance for this finale. I thought that was really touching, and it added a lot to the episode, and it added a lot to her character. Last couple episodes have been pretty big for her. Of course, we've been doing predictions for a while now that Sasha might be, killed off and might be one of the big deaths in the finale here. And it seems that, they were correct, and that she is the one that's going to be, of course, synced with Martin Green leaving the show, or killed off, so to speak, which is pretty sad. And that's one thing about this episode I want to say they did a really good job on, or is a different mix than we're used to mix in kind of a sad, tragic character death with also an action-heavy, war-type episode. This is a finale episode, but it's got a lot of different themes mixed in here. You've got, the excitement and the action and kind of the double crossing and the twist. And then with all of that going on, you also have the acceptance that this is the final episode for Sasha, a character that's been in the series for a long time, and it kind of closes the book, so to speak, on Abraham and her. At least for now. They may have mention in the future, but we even see, to the point in this one, zombie Sasha, who is put down by Maggie. At the end of the episode, very sad sequence. A lot of really sad scenes here. You get some flashbacks from Alexandria with her and Abraham, getting to see a little bit of, maybe a memory, somewhere, hallucination somewhere in the mix here. You have people that they'll often go in those submersion tanks where it'll cancel out like all sound and just everything, total black. And we see Sasha in this episode, really clever that they have her kind of go into one of those, so they allow for it to naturally occur with the dream sequences. And the theme that's been playing for a while with her is whether or not she's going to commit suicide in this episode, and she does. Very, very sad. We did predict that one. We thought that made sense for her. And when she went in the first time to save Rosita, she, at that time, went in kamikaze style. She was suicidal at that time, and now she's just kind of continuing along with her style of life and the things that she chooses to do, which is to be that big sister, to be, like I said in one of my previous reviews there, back to season 4 with the big spot with Tyrese, where he says to her, we're just getting to know the characters. Was there ever a time you weren't the boss of me? Kind of of like that's how she is, right? She's somebody, a character that we would remember as somebody who gives her own life to protect those she cares about, and that is very powerful, and it makes this episode very sad to see that this is the end for her in the show, and that she gives her life in probably the best way you can imagine. And actually, as part of the episode here, and what she decides to do, as hard as that is, to commit suicide, like a very, very hard decision to make, regardless, because then you have to put others above yourself. And as even as righteous as we all are, it takes a special kind of person to go through with it and really give your own life to help those you care about. So that was something that's really brilliant in this episode. And for fans of Sasha as a character, and Sneak with Martin Green, of course, I don't see how you can be disappointed with it. She goes out as a hero. She goes out helping the group in a time of need when it seemed like all was lost again, and that we were seeing, kind of back to the start of season 7 again, with, the lineup, that kind of smaller lineup this time, but same kind of idea, like line up them being under Negan and then their resistance, so to speak, and trying to rebel against him, having failed, and all of this happening. Because she was able to do that, she screwed up the whole thing for Negan and his side. She kind of came out, and then you see Carl go badass, and everybody kind of turn and start to kind of fire and do everything that they did and seize the moment. So, from that, that's one thing about this episode. Very sad to see Michael Cudlitz return and kind of reprise his role as Abraham again, but I loved it. It goes right back to the beginning of the season with that, and there's some other themes as well too. Really makes the season feel complete, because it's kind of like the season starts with this great loss, and then they go through the whole season, and you think, okay, are they over it by now? But then by the end, it kind of like cycles back to the start. Which I thought was really brilliant, and everything they decided to do with Sasha's death here in the last few episodes, the writing team, everybody, Gimple, the things that they do, and even Nicotero with his kind of ideas, it looks like, as the director for this episode, to kind of do what he does a lot, which is to show things in unsequential order or out of chronological order, and then kind of come back to things. So him showing us something at the beginning, us not really knowing what we're seeing. Some people might have an idea. If you saw my reaction video, I kind of figured it out before, but as many of you guys would, right, that she was bagged and she couldn't see and this kind of thing, and really giving it a good thought and a good situation where it would make sense that she would go into some kind of dream and hallucination sequences, which she did in this one, which were very sad, very touching, and I feel like deserve first mention in this episode as as a standout for sure for that character, and really makes season 7, I think, it elevates it, and makes it about what The Walking Dead is supposed to be about, which is the character-driven drama in a zombie apocalypse, but The Walking Dead referring to the survivors and not necessarily the zombies. Pretty brilliant. Well, that's one of the major things from this episode, which I thought was handled really well. If you want to kill somebody off in a show, I think that's one of the most brilliant ways to do it. And they make good use of the time, and everybody guaranteed pretty much is going to be satisfied with that, I think, if you're a fan of Sasha. So great stuff with all that. Really like that. So we have the major twist, which I found out about from you guys in comments, and we discussed the Snitch idea on Monday for the Q&A leading up to this one, which is that we find out from last week's episode 15, that there is a snitch. Someone has told Negan what's going on. He's heading over there. I like that Dwight warned them in this one, because Dwight actually helped them. He let them know that Negan's coming. Negan's coming. He'll probably be here tomorrow, and I can slow him down, that kind of deal. But Negan's coming, and you better be ready when he shows up. So we find out that in fact it is the garbage pail kids, so to speak, or the scavengers, the junkies that turn on Rick and the others. So with this one, I thought this was it was a pretty clever twist. When we saw it play out in the episode, I thought that it was pretty good. For me, and I know a lot of you guys too, if you watch the videos, if you saw that Q&A and you've seen some of these videos, you kind of had some idea that was a possibility. Now, I wonder how it would be for people that didn't have any idea that the garbage pail kids or the junkies, scavengers, were going to do something like that. If they never had conceived of the idea, it might have been a pretty sweet twist for them. And I wonder if that's something that if it kind of ruins the experience or not, if you know anything about about this kind of stuff? Hard to say. I mean, that's kind of tricky, but I would like to hear if any of you guys did not have any idea that something like that could happen or was going to happen. Write your comments below. Let me know how you felt about it and when it actually happened in the show, what your response was. My response was like, oh, you know, shit, okay. You know, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't crazy. It was surprising, and it was like, okay, we kind of knew that was likely to see something like that, and then we did see it, and it was a pretty nice role reversal. I feel like in terms of how it was executed in the show, it probably could have been executed a little bit better. When they switched the guns and everything, it was kind of like, oh shit, and you hear the music and everything before that when Eugene rolls up and Negan and everything. But for some reason, for me, it wasn't that intense. You know, I've seen you know, the other shows you have, like, where characters, where one group, they think they trust somebody and then they turn on them. Something like Game of Thrones Season 1, for example, near the finale there with Eddard. This was pretty good. This was a pretty good twist with regards to the Junkyard group. And yeah, I mean, I thought it made sense for the most part. Probably the most surprising part to me, or the most shocking part, is when Jadis shoots Rick, which was pretty crazy. I did like the line where she kind of like broken Englishly asks Rick if he wants to lay with her after, kind of in a forceful manner, and Michonne's like, you know, like we're together. And she's like, you know, and then you kind of see her face, and she's like, you know, maybe I should have asked. Well, I'm going to ask you. I asked anyway. I don't feel bad about it. That kind of thing. So it was pretty intense to see her have the gun on Rick, and it was pretty intense to see the others. But I liked it even more when, of course, you see Sasha come out, and then you see Carl go badass, and all the rest of them start to shoot back, except for Rick. You know, because of, you know, Jadis being there and everything. It's just the way it worked out for him. But the chaos in the mix of kind of that twist was pretty nuts. You have just all kinds of craziness happening everywhere. You have a lot of different shots, and I feel like you know, some of the action sequences here were a bit broken for me. I mean, they look good for the most part. It was a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness happening all over the place. Some of it was a little bit, it felt a little bit, I guess, disjointed, but it was pretty exciting, and I do want to say it's one of the more action-heavy, you know, big group fight sequences that we've seen in the series, and it was pretty solid for the most part. I think that they did a pretty good job of kind of portraying everything there, and that it turned out pretty good. I did like at the beginning there when they're discussing with Dwight, you have both Daryl and Tara who are kind of going at him, and Tara's like pissed at him, and she keeps telling him to do it. That was pretty good because it was pretty out of character for her to act like that, but she, you know, she cared about Denise and everything, so it made sense. I just really liked it because usually Tara's so nice, and she's like, she doesn't want to hurt anybody. She probably, you know, if she saw a worm on the sidewalk, she'd probably walk around it or something rather than step on it. But in this case, Daryl's got like the knife like right to Dwight's eye, and she's just like egging him on to do it, like peer pressure, do it. So that was pretty good. I really like that. And I like how she gets all in his face, and she's giving him attitude, and same with Daryl. And even after Dwight leaves, and it's advantageous for them to give Dwight that opportunity. And I felt for him too in this case, because he had put himself out there to try to switch sides here, and then he sees this big twist, so it's kind of like it's happening to him too, and he's like, oh shit, I can't do what I was gonna. He probably had some ideas of what he was gonna do, and he can't do what he was gonna do because of this stuff going on, and it just being like, oh man, you know, Rick's lost his side. Now I can't really do what I was going to do. So he did help slow them down, though, and that was good. And I like seeing Dwight for the most part. It's surprising to me how much I kind of like Dwight in this one, even though he just kind of changed sides, like just so recently. But I already start to like him more. And I did like how, you know, he kind of made it sound like in this one that he did what he did for Sherry, and then once Sherry's gone, he really doesn't care. So I like that explanation for Dwight. I think that makes sense for his motivations, that once she left, that he wouldn't, maybe he felt like originally her and him, they couldn't survive out there on their own, and that she was going to be killed. So for her, he swallowed his pride and went back. And from that light, it kind of makes Dwight kind of like an anti-hero or a dark hero in that way, that he, you know, in similar fashion to Sasha, he sacrificed his own life and himself and half his face in order to, give Sherry a chance to live and maybe kind of be happy, or at least to survive rather than out there in the open. So I really liked the beginning with Dwight, and I thought that was all really good stuff. So now the good stuff, the battle. So the battle was pretty wicked, and it was pretty sad with the stuff with Sasha, but I'm like separating this episode up in my mind because the battle part at the end was really awesome, though. We gotta admit that. Seeing Shiva kind of come out, and Shiva was like the kingdom really was like the star of this episode, I want to say. I mean, Sasha was too, but the kingdom also was like just really, really awesome this episode, to see Shiva really get her claws dirty and get into a few savers was pretty wicked. To see them kind of save Rick and the others, and come in, and Ezekiel is pretty wicked. I mean, you got to be honest here with season 7. One of the best things about season 7, I think, is Ezekiel. He is really fun. I think that the kingdom just absolutely all around killed it in the battle and everything. And, like even Negan has some really funny lines too. He responds to it. He's like, "Is that a tiger?" And, as he's driving off, he's giving everybody the finger, just like a prick finger. Like, you can give someone the finger, and then you can give them like a prick finger where give it to him. Like, oh, really good stuff. So Negan had some funny stuff too, and Ezekiel and the kingdom just absolutely kicked so much ass. This episode was unbelievable. Maggie and the Hilltop coming in too was pretty wicked as well, and all the gunfire, the different shots and everything was pretty exciting. It seemed to go, by pretty quickly because, you had this big setup and everything, and then as it all kind of came down, when they kind of retreat and everything, you have the Ninja Turtle smoke fog come out, and, they fade away into the night, the Junkyard group, after Brian shoots off the flare, and they all kind of, skitter scatter and get away. Negan drives away with the finger. So it was pretty wicked. Also, pretty intense scene where you have Rick on the knees again. You have Carl, and Negan's like almost ready to smoke Carl, and that was a pretty intense scene. And also another one where it kind of cycles back to the first episode of the season, the premiere, just like with Glenn and the Watch and everything, and Maggie, and also Sasha and Abraham too. So really nice, similar to season 2, where they kind of start off where they lost Sophie at the beginning, and they go back to the same spot as they were in at the beginning of the season. Season 7 in a lot of ways has that too. But of course, we've had some characters be killed off, and then of course with Ezekiel and some of the others here as well, the Kingdom and the Hilltop, we've had some new characters be introduced that are really wicked, and Shiva by herself is pretty sweet at the same time. Tiger, awesome. So all that was really exciting. The comic book moments were pretty sweet. The falling out the window scene was very reminiscent of the comics, where you don't know who it is from Rick and Carl's perspective. We're not sure if it's Michonne or if it's the girl from the Junkyard group that she's fighting. And of course, we find out that Michonne won that fight as expected, because she's super badass, and she's had some experience, in this kind of situation before. She's fought the governor one-on-one like that, and beaten him, and had a lot of fights throughout the series. So I think that, with her being so scrappy, it makes sense that she would win that. It was good. It was kind of like a comic book equivalent remix moment, which was really cool in the show to see. And really liked how they used Eugene this half season as well too, and him kind of becoming Negan, so to speak. And the question about the air and that, whether or not Negan actually believes him, doesn't seem like it. He's kind of like, he's not so sure. So there's that. Dwight leaves them the message, so to speak, with the what was it, like a soap model or whatever. Pretty much just kind of to let them know that he didn't know about everything that was happening. It sounds like, and he's still on their side. He's still on the survivor side. He's still with them. The jig isn't up. He's still on their side. He's going to do everything he can to try and help them defeat Negan and the Saviors. Even still, as we see that battle go down, and we see all the kills on both sides, so to speak, at the end we see Negan with a pretty formidable group, so he's got quite a few saviors there still, and they're ready to go to war. I was a little bit let down by the speech at the end, like I said, but what can you do? Maybe it just doesn't fit right in the TV series, like it wouldn't feel right. So because it's so silly, and again, they've already mixed some themes in this one too. You get kind of like the sad stuff with the death and that, then you get the action, the excitement of the groups coming in and saving them, and then you want to mix in You get some comedy from Negan too, some dark black comedy, so to speak. And you know, if you were to mix in maybe even more with his speech, maybe it wouldn't fit so well. They have kind of the voiceover at the end with Maggie, and it all ends on kind of a happy note. So a really solid finale. I'm glad they extended it. I'm glad they put everything in this one that they did. I'm going to look at the run times of each episode and find out how many episodes is season 7, because even though it's 16 episodes, you get the first episode is extended, the finale is extended, tons of the middle are extended. We probably got more like 18 or 19 episodes of a season in terms of runtime. So if you count all the extensions. So for this one, I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. Yes, of course, there's some things that are a little bit choppy in the episode with the cutting of Sasha and where she's at that time and how that all fits. But I think it's not too terrible to follow, which sometimes is one of the criticisms of Greg Nicotero's episodes, is they're a little tricky to follow. But I felt like in this one, if you were with the show, you've seen the last 2 episodes, you know where Sasha was at. We predicted pretty much the whole thing. Not spoilers. We just, you know, based on what was happening with Sasha, we could kind of see that. So I thought it was a really loaded episode. There's a lot of stuff in it. There's things you can like, and in my mind, you know, I want to kind of separate it up because I don't want to get too sad about the stuff that happened with Sasha, because it did aid the story and it really set us up for a pretty epic battle in the finale. Maybe not like one of the biggest we've had, like Too Far Gone or something, but I thought it was still pretty good. You know, it wasn't a definitive battle because Negan, of course, and most of the saviors, well, should I say like all the important saviors really get away. Yeah, pretty much. They pretty much all get away. So red shirts are killed, basically. So I think that's the only thing that you could look at as kind of like a negative from. But it was exciting and, you know, action-packed at the end. And, you know, really, really liking it. You got Carol and Morgan that are back in the Alexandria safe zone, which is cool, which also kind of, you know, was kind of like a throwback to the prior season, season 6, and some of season 5 there at the end. And yeah, you know, you've got Sasha and Maggie sitting there with the sun rising, that kind of thing. Sad, too, because remember at the beginning of the season that Sasha was the one who, you know, took Maggie to the hilltop there as well, too. So, yeah, so, but I really liked the finale. Not disappointed at all, just very mixed, very sad about how Sasha was handled. It was brilliant. But at the same time, you know, and that's tricky about it too. People asked him the reaction video already, Trev, why weren't you more amped for it? Well, I was really excited for the episode, but then when I saw that stuff, I was like, oh, so sad. And then you see this stuff, it's so exciting at the end. It's like, how do your emotions mix together? It's kind of like if you ever got drunk and you had a Red Bull. You know, you get like a downer, or maybe you take a Red Bull and a Tylenol. You know, you get in this weird place where it's like you're down, but you're up. That's the best way to describe it, I think. That's how it is. So let me know what you guys thought about the finale. Were you disappointed? Did you love it? What were some of your favorite parts? Loaded finale. Just a really solid finale. Maybe one of the best we've ever had. In terms of score, a 9.7 out of 10 for me. It's pretty close to, I want to say perfect. Like, they did a lot of stuff, so it's hard to say, like, okay, it was perfect. But they were so ambitious. They tried to do so much in one episode. And I feel like it worked really, really well. At least we can't be upset that they didn't give us enough with the finale. They gave us a lot of stuff. I even want to watch it again because there's just so much in it, you know, that to really look at. Like, even the lines and stuff. A lot of times in these reviews I'll go over each line, but in this one I feel like I can't do that because there's just so much stuff in it, which is a good thing. So yeah, you know, really liked it. Really solid finale. 9.7 out of 10 from me. Really awesome stuff. And send me your questions for the Q&As. We'll do the predictions video soon for you guys. Have it posted in an hour, and we'll start tomorrow with the Q&A videos coming off of what was a pretty impressive finale, man. A really good cap off, I think, to the season, and it really makes season 7 better. So we'll do a review of season 7 as a whole because it's a bit controversial, so a lot of people hate it or think it's the weakest season. And after this finale, I feel like this really has elevated season 7 a lot. So that'll be it for today's review, guys. If you liked it, please thumb it up below. Write your comments below, though. Let me know what you guys are thinking about it. And share a favorite. If you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. That's it for this video. See you guys again soon for the predictions for season 8. It's weird to say season 8. It's Trev saying peace. See you guys.